Uh, but yeah, I mean, whenever you're ready, or you're recording.
Yeah, no, I was like, might as well jump into it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Take a Space Podcast. I am your host, Leah, and I am joined today by Mr. Mic Perkins. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you again for having me.
We met like 3 weeks ago, right?
3 weeks ago.
Golly, I feel like it's been months.
I know.
You just talk so much.
I know. You have that kind of personality. It's just like you give all of your vibes out.
I mean, might as well. What am I holding back for?
That's what I'm saying.
What if you never see me again? Then you would never get the full experience of me.
And that would be a shame.
See? Making the world a better place.
Right.
So you have a background in finance.
Certainly.
And recently we have seen in social media, it always happens in cycles, coming around again, especially with the talk of, Black Lives Matter, Black empowerment, Black economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
So recently there has been another, hey, give me $100, you make 800. And then in a few more months, you'll make 12. And there's just a lot of schemes that is going on. What do you think draws people, especially in our community, Black people, to that kind of get rich quick scheme?
I think it's a level of desperation and hopelessness. They certainly sense that in our community, and the people who present these things, and they sense the hopelessness, they sense the desperation. And if you've made, like for myself, I'm 40, and I mean, I say it out loud, like I've probably made, in the 20 years of being an adult, I've probably made $5 to $6 million worth of mistakes. I mean, legit. Yeah. And that's probably lowballing it, because if I knew half the stuff that I know now, I probably would mess it up. But even messing it up, I probably would still, in 20 years, be able to get to 5 to 6 million.
Right.
And when you look at it from that standpoint, and you get to 30s and 40s, you kind of get to a point where you're just like, man, I want to make up that time. I want to make up that money. I want to make up the time and the money that I lost. And you become desperate. And a lot of times when you're desperate, people can sense it, and so they give us things like, pyramid schemes. They give us things like payday loans. They give us things like credit cards. They give us all of these things that are financial poison.
Right.
They're financial poison. They're definitely a dead end and financial poison. And so that we're so desperate, we'll take anything, instant gratification, as long as it feels good. And two, with that, that's in anything. That's in relationships. That's jobs. That's anything. If you're desperate and you have this sense of desperation, people sense it and pick up on it. And I think that that's what's happening, because the thing that's happening, and a lot of these things are not, like, the thing may not be a pyramid scheme. So, for example, what's it? Whatever it is, like
I don't even know.
NutraFit, Nutrafil, or whatever. But it's something health related, health and wellness. You know what I'm saying?
It's a big push, yeah.
Yeah. So the product is not actually a pyramid, for example.
Right.
But the business model is pyramidal. So that if I'm selling Nutra whatever, and then I need you to get in and sell it under me so that I get a commission or something off of you, and so on and so on and so on, and it's just like people show you these deposits, from this business opportunity, this entrepreneurship, this business that I own. Right. And, my deposit for last week was $3,000, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, yeah, but by the time it gets to us, because it's poison, it's like it's been ran through so much that the people at the top are locked in and making residual, and we're just getting the crumbs. And that's if we do it. You know what I'm saying? And two, one of the biggest things about entrepreneurship that I find is consistent across the board is that it should be attached to a passion. It shouldn't be attached to chasing money. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
you can make money doing anything. You know what I'm saying? But I've never met a person who's an entrepreneur like who does hair. Like I'm from Detroit. This is the Midwest capital for that. Women do hair. Like I don't know a woman who does hair who didn't do hair when she was 10.
Right.
Typically what happens is that it's a passion of yours. You love the craft of doing somebody's hair, the art of it, and then you love it so much you say, well, shoot, I've been doing hair in my basement, doing hair in my mama's house. So now, since I'm passionate about this thing and I've been doing it for 10 years, how about I go to cosmetology school, get certified, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I'm never going to be an entrepreneur selling, health and wellness stuff. And I don't really believe in it. One, and two, it's just not a passion of mine, and like they sense the desperation and they sense it. It's like I know you've not necessarily been introduced, but Forex trading, like that's been popping up. Foreign exchange trading.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Forex trading has been, again, it's made its way to the Black community. And so many people are presenting it as a business opportunity, a entrepreneurship, invest in your future, invest in this, invest in that. And it's just like Forex trading is actually legit. It's not like, again, it by itself, it's not a pyramid. But the business model and the way that they set it up is pyramid. So that I have to get in under you in order for me to do the thing. And typically what happens is that it's attached to a fee that you get if I join under you. Whereas the tried and true ways of being wealthy have little to nothing to do with, I need your money. Like if I say, hey, how about you open a mutual fund, a large cap mutual fund, which is going to be your top companies, your Facebook, your Amazon, your Walmart, whatever. And you take $500, start off a mutual fund. And then after that, continue to put $500 in it a month and let compound interest happen. Mm-hmm. Then you do that consistently over time and increase it if you can, because you don't want to start there and just finish there. You want to keep increasing the amount that you put in monthly. Right. You don't need me after I give you that information. You know what I'm saying? You can just do that and then that can be your thing. And I just think, like I say, like we're so in love with the aesthetics of entrepreneurship, the I own my own business, the, I'm financially free or whatever you think it is. We're so in love with the aesthetics that we take the principles out of it. You know what I mean? The actual principle of being passionate about something to where, we attach ourselves to anything. Like I say, like it's so many people that are in my not in my circle, but like who have access to me, who have decided that they're gonna present, Forex trading to me or present this new opportunity. It's a new one that's going around, and I don't know what it is. But I've been
even with you being in finance, they really like. You know what? I feel like you would actually invest in this.
That's why it's so frustrating. It's like, don't you know? Like, I got almost a decade in this. Like, how about just know? Like, I went off on a guy just Saturday. You know what I'm saying? And he's my brother's friend. I went off on him, and I was like, there's nothing morally or ethically that you can present to me that will make me know that this is okay. You know what I'm saying? Like. Right. Do you understand? Like, do you understand that? Like, that's just, it is so frustrating. It's just like, and it's an insult to my intelligence too. Cause you come to me and you say, I got a business opportunity for you. Let me get your email so I can send you the this, and this. And I'm just like, man, if you don't get on my face, if you don't go, like, no, man, no. Like, and it's such an insult to my intelligence. And to me, it's just like, either he's so desperate that he needs me to be a part of it, or he sees that, or he thinks that I'm so desperate that I will be a part of it,
But I feel like I compare it to so I call them juice bros because that's all they say all the time is they get into this environment where they kind of like, it's kind of culty, where they bring everyone together and they're just like whooping it up, or like, you know, they say juice. Like the one that I saw in Texas is like they say juice bro, and they really get you into it. At first you're like, man, juice bro, what is that? And then 10 minutes later you're saying it with everybody because of that kind of, I guess it's a sheep mentality of like you wanting to be a part of something. And it's just like I I have a problem with a lot of people who are just willing to kind of prey on their, even if they don't fully understand what they're doing, because I think a lot of them are not really understanding the impacts of this business. Like they don't understand the impacts of payday loans or stacking up credit card debt and just like, oh, it's okay, I'll get another credit card, wait till that one charge off and do this thing or whatever. I feel like they don't really understand the short and long term impacts of getting involved in something that is considered a business opportunity. And I think you said it perfectly, that when you have a passion for something, money is going to follow. Like that's how it happens. It always happens that way. And you can literally make money doing anything. There are people who are making money, you know, selling bottled water. There's people who's making money cleaning carpets. It doesn't matter what it is. There's always, if you have a passion behind something, somebody's going to see the value in it and pay you for it. But there's a predator prey mentality when it comes to the Black community's economics, because we're always seen as liquid. We always have liquid cash.
Yes.
And it's always quick money. Like, oh snap, I can go ahead and get this from you. I can go ahead and get this from whether, and a lot of times we don't have it. We don't, but it's that prey mentality of, oh, let me get in on this, let me do this. But there was an interesting thing that somebody said to me when I was back in Virginia a few years ago, when I said, no, I don't want to be in a pyramid scheme. He literally said, you work for a corporation, right? I said, yes. He said, well, isn't it shaped like a pyramid? I said, but my paycheck is not dependent on me bringing in other people. And he was just like, I mean, but you're by yourself. And I was like, no.
It's not dependent upon that. And from me being, I remember when I was like 20 and I worked at the mall, you know, and it was just like people would always come up to you with these business opportunities. It's just like, it's so frustrating that they do, because they do the exact same thing. When you work here, so you working for somebody, that's one, you don't want to work for nobody. And then two, after that, your job is set up like a pyramid scheme. And it's just like, no, I'm in on it. Like, right. I'm actually in on it. Like, the way you're trying to present this thing, I'm not in on it. I'm not in on it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm actually outside of the pyramid. You know what I'm saying? I'm a pawn. Not to say that I want to, for the rest of my life, work for somebody. Right. Whatever. But still, at the same time, I'm in on it. I also get insurance. I also have a 401k. Like, I'm in on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not in on whatever you're talking about. Whatever you're talking about, I'm on the outside and you are my in. And you're not going to give me all the information because you don't know the information because you're not in on it. Yes. You're not in on it. The people who are in on it are at the very top and they're locked in on residual income and they're using you to get me and me to get them. That's just, it's so frustrating that you have to present a logical, I shouldn't even have to present a logical argument against it. But I didn't even, and the guy, getting back to the guy, I was talking to the guy and I got to apologize to him too, because I kind of like, I hot dogged and really got, not necessarily disrespectful, but I felt like I went out of my character completely and was really frustrated. And I should have reeled it in a lot earlier. You know what I'm saying? So that when we do the workout next week, because that's where it happened. It happened at the workout. So I'm all like riled up anyway. And then he says that, and it's like at the end of the workout. So I gotta apologize to him and just say, hey man, like just kind of chill out on bringing pyramid schemes in my space, because you know that's just not cool. But just it's always, like I say, it's always frustrating that people think that they're in on it when they're not.
Right.
Like, you're on the outside of it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You're not like even bringing me in. You only bringing me in to your level, which is on the outside of it. You're on the outside
You're
of it.
like level 692, and
692.
we don't even get to see what happens in the first and second level because they're so far removed.
They're so far. And two, this is what I was thinking about. It's like I consider myself a decent looking dude, right? But I know my limitations. I just know my limitations. I know that if I'm standing there and there's a girl who's coming up and she's a 15 on a scale of 1 to 10, and she's right, she's a 15 and she walks past the guy who is 6'3" with muscles coming out of his shirt. You know what I'm saying? And she walked past the other guy who's standing next to some BMW, and she walks past the other guy who has the thing or whatever, and then she comes to me. I should, on some level, have my antennas up to say, hold on, this girl's a 15. Now, I don't think that shirt muscles guy is better than me. I don't think car guy is better than me. I don't think the other guy with the thing is better than me necessarily. Mm-hmm. But she just walked past those guys. What made her walk past those guys to come to me? My antennas have to be up. Relating back to the finances, why did they pass all these people with money?
Right.
To come to you? Why you? What made you so special? You got it. Yeah. And it's not to say that you're worse than these people with money, but your antennas have to be up to say, why are they choosing me? Why are they choosing me of all the people? Why did they come to the west side of Detroit to give me a business opportunity? I gotta wonder why. You know what I'm saying? And the reason is because you sense a level of desperation. And two, also, it's the give me $500 and, you know what I'm saying, you get this in return. Even the people who are presenting that, they don't know how much their $500 is worth. Their $500 may be worth $100,000. You don't know. You know why you don't know? Because you're not in on it. You're just not in on it. You're not in on it. So you don't know if your 500 is worth 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, or 100,000. Because by the time you get the information, by the time you get the scheme, it's already been ran through. And I may find out that this girl who's a 15, the reason that she walked past the guy that with the car and the muscles and the guy with the thing, the reason that she walked by them is because they already done ran through her. And now I'm getting to her and I'm holding her hand and they laughing at me. You know what I'm saying? And that's like you're literally holding on to this thing that's been ran through for 10 years, for 2 years, and now you get it. And it's just like, well, whatever money we make off this, we good. You know what I'm saying? All this is like, you know, icing on the cake. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. I like I said, I wish that we would stop hinging our, you know, our hopes and dreams and our future on get rich quick things, because they're, like I said, they're tried and true methods that really, really allow you to be wealthy. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, in the last 20 years, I know I easily gave up $5 million. So my next 20 years is going to be getting that $5 million back. You know what I mean? I'm going to get it back. And I'm going to get it back. It's just going to be, you know, just tried and true methods. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that because one of the things that keeps being said is that people come up and I want to present you with a business opportunity. Yeah. And it's like, well, why? You don't know how I am with money. You don't know how I am with people. You don't know how I am with any, like, what skills do you think that I would have if I'm already living paycheck to paycheck, that I can actually manage a business?
Right.
Why would you think that? And they're, oh, it's passive income, it's this, it's that. You just put money in it. That's not how business works.
Nope.
You get something for it as you start investing in yourself. That's how business works. You start, just like if we take the cosmetologist, start paying for school, getting tools, start paying for this, getting skills, start paying for advertising, getting clients. Like, you pay a little by little and not just, oh, well, I'm giving up half my paycheck to do this. I'm giving up half my, like, I don't know how many people actually who are in multiple, what is it called? Multi-level marketing situations, like those pyramid schemes kind of things.
Multi-level.
Yeah, it's like it's multi-marketing level.
You gave
multi-level marketing. Yeah.
Multi-level marketing. That
Yeah.
is you're
Yeah.
nice, Leah. You're very nice.
That's what it is. I'm like, why? Okay, so you stay up under this person and you can't make any more than the person who you brought in. But what if they stop working? What if they don't get any more clients? And how many people do you actually know with money? Because like kinds always attract themselves, right? And I think this is where, like you said, antennas need to be up. Critical thinking skills need to kick in at some point. If you are living paycheck to paycheck, a lot of times the people in your circle, whether it's stated or not, are also living paycheck to paycheck. Mm-hmm. And if you are, even with if you are people who are like, oh, don't worry about lunch, I got it, or I can pay for this, I'll take care of this, I can loan you money, I can do this, blah blah blah. You're not in the best environment to get out of that paycheck to paycheck or payday loan to payday loan or credit card to credit card kind of mentality. Mm-hmm. So being presented with a business opportunity, what does that even look like? What does that even mean? What is it that you really want to do so that you're not, because this is what I can't stand when people say, I don't want to punch a clock. I don't want to work for somebody else for the rest of my life. And it's like, you have zero leadership skills. You are not accountable. You don't know how to make a plan. How is it that you can run a business if you don't want to work for somebody else? You go sleep on the couches for the rest of your life?
All your life. This is it. And the alternative, people think the alternative is working for somebody for the rest of your life. But even with that, like, my lifestyle has changed dramatically in the last 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Eating better. I'm down in weight. You know what I'm saying? I'm almost I'm actually at the weight that I was in college. I'm eating healthier. I plan on being here for like another 50 years. Barring something tragic or terminal. We got life insurance for that. But if nothing,
yes, if you don't have it already, make sure that you meet with a licensed professional to get your life insurance.
Yes. So, but I plan on being here, and I don't plan on limping through those next 50 years. I'm talking about like active 50 years. You know what I'm saying? Active 50 years. You know what I'm saying? I still play ball. I still, run three. Like, I plan on being here for a while. The idea that working for somebody for the rest of your life is really even an option when you're making solid, tried and true decisions, it's just not even a thing. Like, what would happen is that you put your money in the market, and and you don't have to be. It's not Wolf of Wall Street. You know what I mean? If you've ever seen that, it's not Wolf of Wall Street. It's not the firm. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not these. It's not the. There are index funds, that have very low fees. You can just say, okay, cool, I'm gonna put this amount of money in it over time. And again, for me, from 40 now to, let's say, 60. That's what I'm doing, and I'm contributing to a 401k. By the time I'm 60, 65, because compound interest, and most people in the financial community call compound interest the ninth wonder of the world. I'm sure you heard that. Yes. The ninth wonder of the world. Yes. There are wonders. One of them is a pyramid. Not a scheme, a pyramid. But they call it the ninth wonder of the world. It is that, because most people think if you put, for instance, if you decide that you're going to put $200 a month into a mutual fund, and I decide that I'm going to put $400 into a mutual fund, that over time doesn't yield me double what you got.
Right.
It yields me over time, sometimes 30, 40, maybe even 50 times, just because compound interest is exponential,
Right.
And it's that simple. And we learned the PERT formula in high school. You know what I'm saying? We learned it in high school. I'm telling people like, and these are people who went to schools, like my school was you had to test to get into it. The school that I went to Martin Luther King in Detroit. And there are Cass, in Cass and Renaissance are the other two schools you gotta like test in Detroit to like actually get in. Intelligent people who, when I tell them this, they're like, well, nah, that don't. I'm like, dude, you had calculus. This makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And this is the thing. If you can just say, I'm going to be diligent about the things that I'm going to do. I'm going to take care of my body. Look, we're going to live longer than our parents. We're just going to live longer than our parents. You know what I'm saying? Like, it won't be surprising to me to see somebody who is my, in my generation to live to 110, 120. It's just going to happen. The problem is that people are like planning as if their life is over when they get 60. The rest of it, and you're going to probably live just to 100. So you got 40 years of you can literally make decisions now that they're going to carry you through that, is my point. People are just so desperate. They're just so, I need to get there now. They're so embarrassed of the past mistakes that they made. I will openly say I made $5 million worth of bad decisions. Easily over the last 20 years of my life. I forgive myself, and now I'm not going to make those kind of mistakes anymore.
Right.
Now I'm going to just make better decisions. And that's just it. People are literally giving up. I think that's more of the problem than anything. People are just giving up. People are just like desperate, and they just have nothing. Like, I don't have anything. I guess a pyramid. I guess multi-level marketing is what you call it. Sign me up.
Well, I mean, even if it's like, because even because my mom is actually an insurance agent, and she does the IUL presentation. It's a universal index life insurance, and talks about the importance of, what's the difference between an IUL and a 401k? What's the difference between putting it in a savings account versus a mutual fund versus a 401k versus an IUL? There's so many things. There's so many things that are available, instead of giving someone, a random that is in your community $100, $500, $1,000 in hopes of getting something back in 5 or 6 months. It's really interesting that people would rather see the return tomorrow as opposed to a decade from now. And it's like, well, I need that money now. Well, I mean, do you really? Because if you're giving somebody $100, you're pretty much kissing it away.
Yes.
Like, yes. You may not see that for a long time.
Goodbye.
But if you have something guaranteed where you're like, I can consistently put away, it may not be $100, it may be 25, it may be 50, but doing something, and like you said, being progressive, like progressively putting more away as you get better with money, that's a way to build it, even if you don't come from money, because a lot of us don't, unfortunately, but we have access to information. And like you were talking about, the people that you knew who was just like, look, you took calculus and this should make sense to you. Let's be real. Like, book smarts does not always translate to real life. And
it does.
I have learned that when talking to, I'm just like, but it should make sense to you. And I don't understand why it's not making sense to you. And I don't know how to make it make sense, because this is literally what your expertise is. I don't understand why you're missing this. Yeah. So it's interesting that so many people are focused on the book smarts, focused on the instant gratification. And I feel like it got worse. So we got the microwave, and we start getting instant gratification with the drive-through. And then now if stuff takes too long in the drive-thru, I'm like, well, they gotta cook the food, I guess. Like,
right.
Why are you? It's been 5 minutes. Why are you mad? Like, let them cook the food.
Let them cook, please. Let them be patient.
Right. And then now with social media, it's even worse. As soon as a picture goes up in 10 minutes, if people don't get 1,000 likes, they're like, everybody hates me in the world. I don't really understand why people are not supporting me, and da da da. And I'm just
Some people delete it.
Yeah, I'm just like,
Some people just delete, bump that. I'm not gonna be embarrassed that nobody liking my stuff. I'm not gonna do that.
let's understand. You have a terrible personality. Like nobody really cares about you like that. Or maybe
Right.
everybody's at work. Or maybe you're not the center of everybody else's attention. Let's
That
think about
happens.
those things.
What do you?
Let's think about those things.
That's just, it's so much, man. It was like, and like the point that you were saying, whereas people want the returns now as opposed to 10 years from now, we're using this is SteamYard, right? StreamYard. So the beginning of the pandemic, me and my brother, because we were using Zoom for workouts. So my brother's using Zoom for workouts. And I just so happened to, get into this podcast, Earn Your Leisure, right? Good podcast, two guys that dope. And I listened to it, and they were talking about Zoom and how that Zoom, the stock, like it went up, and I'm like, yeah, it went up. That just makes all the sense in the world. So I didn't listen to it all the way, and I told my brother that. He was like, yeah, it's probably through the roof. So I go back and I look at what Zoom has done. Zoom started at $68 a share in January, and it's now today currently at $253 a share, which is 267% increase. It's just ridiculous. But you never get that gain if you don't know. And two, it's not that we could predict it, but like, because I'm not into, Zoom type apps or whatever. I'm not into it. But like Game Duel, I think it's Game Duel. But sports were gone, right? So sports were just gone. We didn't have any sports on TV, pandemic, whatever. But then when they were announcing that sports are coming back, all of the sports gambling sites went up. But I immediately was like, well, what about those? So because I'm into sports, I'm into basketball, so immediately I'm like, okay, cool. You should probably put some money on this because it's gonna go up. There was nothing, and now there's something. You know what I'm saying? It just makes all the sense in the world. Now this is going up. Everybody has an expertise. Everybody has a thing that they're so into that it just makes sense. If you're in the podcast and then you hear, okay, Joe Rogan is going to Spotify, put some money in Spotify immediately. Like, and I wouldn't suggest individual stocks. I always really suggest mutual funds because I don't want people to have to be, again, I don't want people to have to be the Wolf of Wall Street in order to make money. But it's just like some things, whereas you feel like you have an expertise in this, and it can be as simple as, I play video games. I know that they're coming out with a new 2K, and I know that that's going to go through the roof. So let me put a little bit extra down on this. Like, everybody has an expertise to the point where you can just say, I'm going to put some money here, and I don't need anybody. I don't need somebody to get me in. I just go I can go to E-Trade, I can go to whatever, and I can just do it. Again, it's so simple. It's so tried and true that it's just ridiculous. And people make money. People make money, and not people make money instantly, because again, you can also just put your money in mutual funds, a large cap, again, Amazon. Jeff Bezos is about to be a trillionaire. They say he's projected to be a trillionaire in like 5 years, 5 to 7 years, something like that.
He's making stupid money.
Look, if he's going to be a trillionaire, I want in. But I don't need him to get in. All I need is Merrill Lynch. That's all I need. I just need Schwab. I can go to Schwab and say, hey, people at Schwab, I want a mutual fund, and I want a large cap, and I want that to be included. Yeah, that one. Okay, cool. I want this fund right here. This works for me. I'm gonna put in this amount of money every month, and then as long as that's a part of it, I get the gains. I win. I don't need somebody to come up to me and say, "Hey, give me $500 and I'll change it into." I don't need that.
That sounds so suspect.
It's $500.
Slide me $5. It is
Slide
like
me $5. I turn it into this. Like that just makes
mm,
me so upset. And like I say, all of these things. And I was saying like on the I don't know if I was saying it. I was saying it on the last season we on. I'm only gonna do this for probably 2 or 3 more years. Whereas I'm talking like this. I'm only gonna do it for like 2 or 3 more years. It's very exhausting. It's super
can
exhausting.
be. It can be, but that's why it's like, but I think you're coming at it from a more frustrated educator aspect where you're trying to tell people, look, okay, there's a better way. I promise you there's a better way. I'm telling you there's a better way. But I bet you in 2 to 3 years, you're probably just going to get tired and be like, I told you. I told you.
You know, I'm not even gonna say I told you because I'm not. I try not to, which is why I gotta apologize to the guy from that I was talking to him on Saturday. I'm not even like that. So what I'm probably gonna do is just live my life quietly, because that's usually what I do. Like other than being on the podcast talking to Leah, you know, or talking, you know, what I'm saying on the podcast that we've been on and in the Zooms that we've been on, I don't really talk. So for me, it's just like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And you know what? I'm going to do it. And I'm just going to be quiet. The people that are in my, you know, my brothers, I got 2 brothers, you know what I'm saying? My mom, you know, the few friends, my brother's friends, whatever. I'm going to tell these people, but I'm not going to beat them over the head with it, but for 2 or 3 more years. And then after that, you know, I got to be quiet. I just got to be quiet because I don't want people to hate my guts, but I got to give them the information. And look,
right.
This is me only being dedicated to this information for the last 4 to 5 months. You know what I'm saying? Like when I recently just got completely out of debt. No debt. Gone. Completely. Clap it up. Clap it up.
Yeah.
So I just recently got out of debt completely. I'm telling people, hey man, look, get out of debt. Debt ain't really worth it. I don't like, but my credit score, it's just like, look, credit scores are, I mean, at least for me, the more information I get, credit scores are a fugazi. They are a fugazi.
Nobody wants to hear that, but I'm just like, look, you look, y'all
need it for
wrong thing.
You need it for 2 things. You need it, and people think they need it for 2 things. Let me say that. You think you need it for 2 things. The 2 things are purchase a car and to purchase a house. Now look, purchase of a car is pretty simple. I drive a $3,000 car. That's just what I drive. I mean, $35,000, but $3,500 car. It is a van. It works. It's clean. You know what I'm saying? It's not much going on with it. You know what I mean? I got kids. I put, you know, workout equipment in it. I drive from point A to point B. And not so much now because it's a pandemic, you know. So
how far are you really going right now?
How far am I really going? Literally, okay, so I changed the oil 3 months ago, right? 3 months ago, because now I'm supposed to change the oil again. I haven't drove 1,000 miles in 3 months. I haven't drove 1,000 miles, let alone 3. Like nothing. So car wise, I always say this, and I got it from somebody. Just because you can afford the payments, don't mean you can afford the car.
Facts.
It's
so
500. You may be able to afford $500 a month, which is the average car note in America. You may be able to afford $500 a month, but because you can afford $500 a month doesn't mean that you can afford a $40,000 car. You tripping. Just don't do it. And this is also with cars. What's the craziest thing? Cars are not an asset. They drop in value. In the life of the car loan that you have, which is typically 5 years now, people do a lot of 5 years.
Yeah, it's about 5 years, but they've been pushing it out to 6 and 7. I've been seeing.
That's what I'm saying. In the time of the loan, the car loses more than half. So we go back to that $40,000, you know, example. By the time you're done paying for it, it's worth $17,000, and you just pay $40,000 for it plus 6% interest. Because on average, your credit score is going to be a 640. That's about average. You're paying so much for this car that is dropping in value that if you just waited 5 years, you could probably just buy it for 17, or you know what? Buy it for for 10 because it's a private sale. Somebody is just giving, saying, here, I want to give you this car. In my experience, if you go to some of these suburbs, older people are just selling cars. They're just selling their car. That's just it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, a lot of this, and then for a house, you don't really need a credit score. If you have no credit score, no credit on your credit report, manual underwriting. Manual underwriting is if you don't have any credit score, you don't have any open lines of credit, they base it on your financial history. So it's going to be your how much you make at your job, of course, how much you have in savings, how did you get the money, and over what period of time, how long you've been at your job. And it's just based on that. And if you're just putting down 30%, 20 to 30%, you've also sidestepped PMI, which is just mortgage insurance, ensuring that the mortgage company gets their money. But by the time you're at 30%, you sidestep that. So you have effectively reduced your interest rate. Then after that, typically people who start at 30% on their house, you finish the loan in a matter of 6 or 7 years. I want to do that. You know what I mean? But credit, like I said, and then everything else you use credit for, it's just a fugazi. Like you don't need it to have a credit card. You don't need it so you can buy something from K's or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You just don't need it. It's just unnecessary. You don't need a credit score. It's a big old fugazi.
No, I mean, I agree. And I think that a lot of people are in the mindset of keeping up with the Joneses. Like they want to have the nicest, newest car. They want to have this, they want to have that. And honestly, it wasn't until I started working in corporate that I had that mindset change of like, wait, I just paid how much for this car? And how long is it going to take for me to pay this off? And okay, so I really could have gotten, and I wasn't aware because of the moving of where the suburbs were, where I just saw so many older people who were just like selling their nice, like mint condition cars from like 10, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. No issue, no accidents, no nothing. And it's pretty much just been sitting there for the last 5 years because they can't drive it. And they sell it for like a few thousand. So they may let it go for $5,000. And if you take time to save up the $500 payments, however it takes long for you to get to $5,000. But if you take time to just save that up, then you can just buy the car outright. Your insurance payment is going to be lower. You'll be able to pay for things in one lump sum instead of monthly payments, and then trying to live paycheck to paycheck and figure out where the money goes. And it'd be easier on your budget. Budgeting will be so much easier.
Yep, budgeting because there's less money going out, so there's more money to get this Zoom game. Right. Zoom just went up, and it's always easier. And that's another thing too. Bad financial habits beget more bad financial habits.
Right. Right.
So if you got a credit card, and you hear people all the time, and I'm sure you hear people all the time that say, well, I got a credit card, but I pay it off at the end of the month every month.
Yeah.
85% of people don't. So somebody's lying. Somebody's lying. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just like, how? Okay. So, but because I've had to like dealing with people when I worked in the branches, and then now working a different part of back office. But it's like seeing these people come in, like trying to make the $25 minimum payment. I'm like, you have $5,000 on this one credit card alone, and you have 3 other credit cards. How are you keeping yourself sane in this?
Yep, I try my hardest, like, which is why I got out of the branch and I got into the corporate, because it was really just tugging at my morality. Like, it was just tugging at, like, because we were encouraged to sell, credit cards and things of that nature. And at a certain point, I got to like, man, like, I'm not helping these people.
Right.
I mean, like, I can't even think of a rational reason to say, hey, get a credit card. Like, I really can't think of a rational reason. So am I really helping these people? I need to get it.
These are people who don't have savings accounts, or if they have savings accounts, they have like $10 in it.
That's what I'm
Not
saying.
even enough to cover overdraft fees. And I'm just like, yeah.
You go, right.
You don't need a credit card, honey.
Yeah, you don't need a credit card. How am I helping this person? And it's just like, if I'm in a service business and I really want to help people, I probably need to get out of this because I'm going to either, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to either feel horrible on the inside, you know, and do this, or I'm going to lose my job. Like, I need to get out of doing that. Now, look, the whole system is set up a different way that, you know, where you have to, I guess you have to compromise in some way, shape, or form, because still I work for a bank. It just is what it is. But the compromise is not as much as being in the bank and trying to push things on people that I know ultimately are not going to be good for them. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just like, it's a product. And yes, for some people it's decent, but I'm not encouraged to ask people who already got, you know what I mean, money in the bank and they're financially set. Furthermore, they would tell you, get out my face with that credit card. You know, that's what they would tell you. Like typically when you say, hey, we have our credit card promotion going on and you get the first 18 months, you know, 0% interest. So if you want to, and it's just like, I got it. No.
They're more interested, like, so what's that savings account or CD hitting on? Like, what is the return on this account or that account? They're more interested in that. Like, perks for a credit card, like, I don't need them.
Right. I'm already straight. You know what I'm saying? All I'm looking to do is to residual income, but what is the word? What is not residual income, but
like dividends?
No, dividends, but not dividends. The word that people always use about income, not residual. What's the word? Passive. There you go.
Income?
They're trying to only get passive income, whereas they put their money in something and then they just get a return. They just get a dividend check every month or whatever. That's all they're looking to do. I already got it. It's a guy who used to come to the bank all the time. He's a dentist, and he literally came into the bank, said, "Give me a cashier's check for I think it was like $68,000 or something like that. Give me a cashier's check for $68,000." Wrote it up, whatever. He was buying his wife an SUV outright. Just buying it. I'm not gonna ask this guy if he want a credit card. Like, you think he needs a credit card?
What does he need a credit card for? He doesn't need a credit card. No.
Also, and while you're at it, sir, here's this line of Coke. If you need,
just in case you need something,
you need a change of pace.
Yeah, let me wet your whistle a little bit with this.
Right, here's a whole line of Coke, and not even the good stuff. Like, you know. The straight the east side Coke, the east side of Detroit Coke, which is not even really Coke. It's probably something else by the time it gets to the east side. But like, I'm offering them literal financial poison. I don't understand how to do that righteously. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand how to do that righteously, man. Like, at a certain point, I have to be, I don't know, some kind of morality has to be in what it is that you do, you know what I'm saying, at your job, in your life, entrepreneurship, you know, in relationships, of course, but like the financial, the economical morality has to be somewhere in there, man. And it's just like people are losing it because they're desperate. They're losing it because they're desperate. They just, I need it now. I need it now. I need it now. And it's just,
yeah, that. I hope that whoever's listening out there, that, you know, if anybody approaches you, you know, I can turn your $100 into $1,000. Like, just send me the money. Don't worry, I'll be good. You're not gonna miss it. Don't worry about it.
Right, and it's gonna go to a good cause.
Right, right. I'm gonna make sure that other people are helped with this. But you know, I really just want to thank you for chatting with me today. Do you have anything that you would like to plug?
Let's see here. I am Mic Perkins on Instagram. MICPERKINS. I am Mic Perkins on Twitter. And I have a podcast with my brother that I do. It's called Opinions Are Like Podcasts. And I have a podcast that I do by myself, and it's called My Punk Ass Podcast. And I talk like this and on both of them, and have a good time. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got. I think that's all I got.
No, yeah, I was trying to remember. I was like, yeah, I think that's all I'm you on. Yeah. But no, thank you for tuning in. Y'all can follow us, Take Up Space Pod. That's Take Up Space POD on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube. We also have a new show. Mike is actually a judge for Champions of Discourse Presents Debate This. And by the time this episode airs, the show will have started. So just make sure you tune in August 20th, which is a Thursday. Mark your calendars. August 20th on the YouTube channel and on Facebook will be Champions of Discourse Debate This. And I will see y'all next week. Thank you.
Next week. Yes.